Welcome back. This is the Artificery podcast, episode 3 for Star Wars Unlimited. Once again, we're joined by myself, the Gandork, as your host, and we have Garrett, aka Zero Hour, and other Nick, aka Taxter. And we're going to talk about what's been going on in Star Wars Unlimited this week.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, cool stuff's going on this week. Does anyone have like any updates, decks they played, or anything to talk about this week? I'll go to Tack first.
I don't think I played a whole lot that was new. I played against Han. I've played a little bit of Han on Felt Table, but I haven't played any TTS or in person anything with him yet. He's cool. I think he's going to be fun. I think he's got a lot of potential. He can do some nasty stuff with his bonus round. Get all the things out at 7 mana right early.
Yeah, I like how like it felt like the public perception of him was like he's trash, and then like as soon as people started to play him, it like instantly flipped.
Yep.
I haven't gotten to see much of the Falcon yet, which we'll talk about later. What else? I think IG-88 is also like new since then, and I still don't think that there's really a good place for him, even with the aggression cards we've seen this week. So I don't know. I haven't played a whole lot of new stuff though. Just kind of like jamming. I like Luke a lot. I feel like he's just kind of fun to play, and he has a lot of cool cards already to kind of go with, like all of them. Just a bunch of unique with Ezra, Kanan, and Yoda, Obi-Wan. Like you got a lot of Jedi there. I feel like if we get a lot more or any more cards that just support like some Force user or Jedi theme stuff, I think that'll be awesome.
I mean, we have
probably not much Jedi stuff in this set, but maybe more Force user stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll get more than just the one. It binds all things. I think it's the only thing we've seen. There's got to be other stuff.
We need the hero version of the Fallen lightsaber. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. What about you, Garrett? You done anything this week? I thought I saw you looking for some games earlier.
Yeah, I was
Days
playing. I've
back.
been playing Sabine and with Blue. I don't know. I just like Sabine Leader. I think she's a lot of fun because you can get her out so fast, and then it's like you can get a card tempo with her really well. I think. And I'd be
You trying to load her up with upgrades or
no? You don't even really need to. Like just her being out. Yeah, I get Kanan out too. It's like her and Kanan, they're both Spectres, so they could both do. You get Kanan's nonsense combos with her. And then I put Mace in that deck, and Mace is nuts. Like in the right setup, Mace is insane. Like I wiped they had 4 units out, and I took all of them out, and Mace was still standing. It was nuts. He's so good.
Yep, yeah, we covered him last week. Figured he'd be
some
great.
of those situations where like Mace is just better than like what you could even hope for out of an overwhelming barrage or like any other like single card. Like the amount of value you can get with him, very high. Still weird to compare him to Han because like Han can possibly live longer because he's not taking damage most of the times that you're swinging, but the upside on Mace is extremely high, especially if you like add in like equipment like upgrades or healing, because just like you keep him alive, he don't stop the
He's
party.
just a bomb. Like he can wipe the entire board. It's nuts.
Yeah, good stuff. I haven't really been doing much playing this week. I've been like busy at work all week and just haven't had time. But let's see. Going back to last weekend with Spiel, lots of people got promos. Those have been going around. We're getting autographs from the designers, which I guess whatever floats your boat. If you want to get a Daddy Schaefer autograph or whatever else. But we also got some new news out of Spiel. Like FFG did like a presentation for like, I don't know what they called it. I lost the opening slide that was like media,
like a content creator.
Yeah,
spotlight.
but like they were covering like information about the
influencer.
game, and we got some nuggets of new information out of that, or maybe not necessarily new information, but this stuff that was like reassuring, I thought. So we'll talk
Yeah.
about some of this briefly. And let me, oh god, that's too small. Let me blow this up. Give me a sec. I can do this. I mean, it's still
Good
pretty
radio
small.
right here.
Like, these images were terrible because people were taking them with like their cell phone, uh, like at the presentation. So like this one is like an outline of their competitive path will look like. Which we have a stream coming up. We'll talk about this, but this gives us some more information on what that'll look like. And it says
We
it's
got
the
most
path
of this
to.
already, I
Did
think.
we like? I'm not sure if we
Well,
got
they did the
like.
initial organized play, like here's kind of what casual's gonna be. Here's kind of what competitive's gonna be. Like we got the names of the stuff. I guess we probably didn't see like official. Like you kind of guessed that Planetary is a store level event, but like I don't think maybe they didn't directly say that.
Yeah, and like the regional sector qualifiers, destination events as they call it. I think a key thing there that we didn't know is it's run by their official partners. So it's not run by FFG proper, but like I don't know, in the past, the with Destiny, the Galactic qualifiers were run by Cascade Games, which I don't think exists anymore. So I'm kind of curious, like who
Yeah,
the official partner or partners will be to run these events.
Yeah,
Um,
really interesting to see.
I'm
yeah,
also curious because like Gen Con, FFG always runs their own events at Gen Con. So either like is Gen Con going to be the Galactic Championship, or like I guess we don't know how if there's only going to be one a year, if there's going to be one per set. Like I don't know if it's
yeah. I
like
mean, they
is
call
it
it the competitive season finale, but that doesn't really tell us anything.
right. So I mean, I think we'll see that in a few weeks when we get the competitive stream to actually get the meat more on that. But it's
Yeah, I think so too.
good to get a little bit more peek into that.
Yeah, it was a little bit more information, and then this was kind of like an outline of how they view the game over time. So, like they said, the first year of content is about foundation building. You know, keep it simple so they can ramp up over time. Easier to add content later instead of trying to do too much too fast and getting it wrong. And then people have been discussing this. They consider Star Wars Unlimited, quote, evergreen in their own quotes, um, which they don't define what evergreen means, but they kind of go on to say that they've already started initial design on set 7, which is year 3, and concepts have begun through set 9, and they have a 5-year roadmap that builds out additional product types, target audience considerations, and we've heard this before, but it's the largest dedicated staff of any game in their studio. Garrett, thoughts?
I I'm kind of speechless because I mean we all play Destiny. We know kind of the behind the scenes, or at least some of
Right.
the behind the scenes. I guess turmoil might be the right word. And it's not the developer's fault or even really anyone working on it. It's just the company structure at the time. And I think they're trying and they're doing good things potentially, and that feels weird. Um, but I'm excited, and kudos to them for going all in on this because it's their only competitive game right now. So they don't have any other OP to do except for like Arkham Knights and stuff, but that's not
Yeah.
the same kind of thing.
Like I feel like we've seen more people just on their live streams than there were total people at the company that were supporting Destiny.
Yeah.
Because it was like 3 or 4 people, I feel like, total for like the entire game between like designer and like organized play, who I feel like was across multiple games at once and just
Mm.
had no resources for any of them. It's completely different.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously the biggest thing they'll have going. I really think, like, when they say evergreen, this is my interpretation of their words, but I think what they mean is they aren't planning to sunset this at some point. Like, if we call it, like, I've mostly referred to evergreen, refer to like, keywords and stuff in Magic. They'd be like, this
Yeah.
concept or ability is evergreen, which means it'll be in all of our sets. But like in this context, I assume evergreen means like we're putting our company behind this and we don't plan to ever end it. Like we're not going to sunset it. Like the goal is to keep it going forever. Um, Now, the flip side of that is like, did they plan to end Destiny? I'm not sure if they ever planned to end Destiny 2, and anything could happen. But
No, but Destiny was always like, you never knew when the next set was going to come out. We kind of had an idea. It was very inconsistent. None of it was consistent. It was just kind of like, I guess if evergreen kind of just means we're trying to stick to this schedule and we plan to meet that, and we'll continue it as long as there's interest in the game and or it's profitable, I guess. But
right. Yeah, for sure. Going on, the every set is a season, which they've kind of taught. I think there was nothing else new here, other than the store showdowns are going to be late in set one. Do we take that as a red flag, or is it fine?
I think it's fine.
I don't know what it means, but maybe it's just to give people more time to get acclimated with the game. Is maybe my guess, because by the time the set 2 1 comes out, you'll already have stuff from set 1, and I'm assuming
Right.
that you'll be able to play. I'm assuming it's a constructed event. I guess they didn't fully say, but like I'd assume it's probably constructed, and you'd be able to play
Yeah, I think
with
the
any of
store
the sets.
showdowns are constructed, and it says they're 1 month after release of a set will be the usual schedule, except set one's going to be 2 months after release, which I guess you hope it's intentional. And it's that FFG history that we have that we go, oh, hopefully it's not unintentional. And they're like, this is the soonest we can deliver store showdown kits for set one. We're a month behind
I
what we
mean,
want.
my brain on that went to that as well because of FFG's history.
It just
But
doesn't make sense that they wouldn't
yeah,
have those kits already at the same time as everything else,
I
unless they're trying to
honestly,
gauge initial interest in stores and try to figure out, okay, here's where the hot spots of the game are. We need to figure out which stores are now are like maybe they're just giving themselves an extra month lead time on figuring out who are the stores that get this. But I
because
don't think this is a product shortage issue.
I felt like it's a combination of that plus making sure everyone one understands the game and two has the cards they want at that point, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, by the time set two's out, you'll have stuff and you're just doing plug and play on your deck. Some people you might build a whole new deck, who knows, but set one is a different kind of beast.
Yeah, so this other slide, I think the only thing kind of new here is that they nailed down that the set one store showdown will be May 2024, which tracks with the 2 months that we previously said. I don't remember if they announced that they were going to have 32 promo cards with exclusive promos for judges, top 8, top 4, and champion in the brief talk on the store showdown. I don't quite remember.
I think so, to a degree. They said there was some for. I don't think they showed any of the cards other than the participation.
Yeah, and then trying to zoom in on this was the last slide that also kind of gave new information, though you could kind of suss it out off of stuff they said before. But they've kind of officially put in like what they want their release month schedule to look like. They're saying, we're going to get Spark of Rebellion in March, which we knew. And then, set 2 July, set 3 November, and then, going into 2025, it's redacted, but they're looking at that March, July, November release cycle, 3 sets a year. Any
That's
thoughts on
interesting.
that?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, July release for second set means Gen Con's about a month into it. I was wondering if we're going to get like before we knew the release date. I thought like, oh, maybe they'll do end of March, such that it'd be like end of July, and then like we almost have like a release event at Gen Con, and maybe like that's like the capstone for the first set, and then kicking off like drafting of the second set. But now like this is going to be a month into it by the time we get to that one, and there's other conventions that are big too. So like I don't know if that's setting up for like one of the first really big tournaments.
I'm wondering what the set names are hinting at
For the next
No,
ones.
the other sets names are just redacted. No, sorry. Like they've named
Redacted
set
1,
3, 4, 5,
redacted
and
2.
6 are just called redacted. It's a bold choice.
I mean, obviously, set 3 is like Clone Wars stuff.
I think did
Twilight
they
of the
say what
Republic.
they mean? I thought at some point.
I think it's just a
They
guess at this
did
point.
not. They just
They just
said
give
the
us the
names
name.
before. Yeah.
Twilight of the Republic has to be Clone Wars era. Like it just
I mean, that's what it does sound like.
So I mean, I don't know what Shadows of the Galaxy is.
Yeah, I mean, most guesses is it's Underworld Bounty Hunter, the Outer
I mean, that's
Rim
what I've
Yeah.
heard
type
people
stuff.
like thinking. So I just didn't know if like I don't remember if they said something on
No,
there.
they haven't said anything. I think that's just the pure speculation at that point.
I want my what's it called? Crime Lord Mall.
Yeah.
No.
He'll
Yeah,
be
that's
in
why we
there at
need
some
the Han
point.
Well, I
Solo
want 8
sequel.
malls, really. That's what I'm ready for.
I
I
thought you were
just
going to say you needed your lizard with a gun.
I mean, I don't actually like Boss that much.
Deep cuts.
Kidding.
So anyway, that was the extra stuff that came out of Spiel that was kind of interesting that we weren't expecting. Moving on to this week, it was the official start of Aggression Month. We got a spoiler early on in the week, and then FFG had their aggression stream to go into further details about, like, the themes behind the aggression aspect. Did anybody want to talk about like what they thought of the stream? It was a very short stream
It's pretty
compared to, like,
straightforward.
Yep.
yeah, they jumped in and hit it and just went through all the things. Like, I think what was their big the key thing that they wanted to say was like aggression is the color of whatever it wants to do, it can do, which in my head I thought was a little weird because, like, to some extent, like, what is that? Like, I get like what that means in the cards. They're like, oh, if it wants to do damage, it does damage. If it wants to draw cards, it draws cards.
I
But
think it
then,
just
like,
means like less conditional stuff, but then like there are conditional stuff with like
no,
initiative. So it's like I don't know.
I don't know. I think on the face, like, saying this is the set that, like, whatever it wants to do, it can do, sounds overpowered. Like, as a concept, like, I don't know how that works, but they
I
didn't
mean, I
really
take
like.
that as a like so like I don't think I think Danny mentioned it like there's gonna you want to draw cards. There's gonna be a card that just draws cards in aggression, and we didn't see like we saw aggression, but we didn't actually see a card that's just this card just draws you cards. But he alluded to that, and we didn't see it, and I'm like, well, okay, so that's kind of what he means. It's like green has all those like tutors, blue, like you have stuff that like when things die you draw, and like so this is just like nah, just draw it, man. But at the same time it's probably going to be a more premium price. Like I assume that there's a trade-off in to having the most direct thing, and that might be in resource cost.
I kind of view it as like the red mage in that it kind of does what everyone does, but not as good as someone who focuses on it. So like, cunning does what cunning does, and everyone kind of does what they do, but aggression can
Do kind
kind
of
of do all
anything
of them, but not as good. It's not as focused, so it won't be as good as those.
unless it's damage.
Sure. I mean,
Aggression
aggression is
does.
just gonna hit you in the face, but but like it's just kind of a jack of all trades kind of thing.
Yeah, I do find it interesting. And I don't know, they didn't really talk about it specifically, but just how the removal is different between each of the four aspects. Because we see that, like, blue has the direct, just defeat a unit. Yellow has a bounce effect in Waylay. Green does the fight effects, or, like, your unit, you deal damage based off of, like, the power of a unit, like overwhelming barrage,
Right.
or like the fight version of command. And then we had open fire and the version of the aggression card, which we'll look at in a second, that just deals straight damage. I don't know. I just personally found that split up interesting, or at least that's probably the most clear delineation, I think, between the colors we've seen.
And I think they're all pretty
And upgrade
flexible.
removal. That's the big new one that we
Oh
haven't
yeah.
seen any of, and it sounds like that's mainly going to be Red's unique-ish thing. Where
Yeah, that was kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know if they can get away with just red having upgrade removal, but like, if you've played with Fallen Lightsaber some, and all of a sudden you're like, can we get just like a little bit more upgrade removal? Because this card is kind of,
Nuts.
yeah,
nuts right now. And some people figure out, like, flip your leader, throw Fallen Lightsaber on it, win the game as it's just doing all this damage, and their leader's huge, and their leader dodges all the removal.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we were kind of talking about the spoilers, but let's, I guess, just start looking at them. Oh man, my spoilers got unsized too. Let me blow it up. So first spoiler. This was a spoiler that was first released this week for Aggression Month. So like the one a week that we got, and base won the vote, like it has, I think, for every other aspect. So we get the ability base for red, Tarkentown. Just like all the other ones, you get 25 health. And the epic action is you deal 3 damage to a damaged non-leader unit. Garrett, thoughts?
I like it. It's something that's always sitting there that you have to think about, and you have to constantly play around it. You know, if you're playing against it, and that sucks when you're on that side of it. But once it's used, I mean, you can. But it's also like you can bait him. You can bait your opponent into using it too. So it's.
Mhm.
I like Tarkentown. I think it's cool.
Tack, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's another like good. I don't think it's. I feel like I still like the green one better, but I'm also biased towards not aggro as much too. So, I mean, you might still play this in not aggro. I don't know. It's just a matter of like, do you
Play as a
value the health over
control.
that one? I mean, 3 damage to a damaged. If it wasn't didn't have the damage thing, like just be able to snipe something that wasn't damaged at all would be better for a control, because then you don't have to worry about like the little bit of board presence you need to get that 1 damage out. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like a good enough base for the trade off, and especially if you're playing aggro, I don't see why you wouldn't play with that
Yeah, I think it
every
was
time.
Tyler, one of the designers, has been kind of doing like little tweets on design
Yeah,
philosophies when cards come out. And he specifically, when this one came out, he said, I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of, turns out like all the ability bases are good in aggro because aggro cares a lot less about, losing
base
the
health.
health because they either win the game quickly or they probably don't. So they had to design these bases to not help aggro as much. And I think that's kind of true. So, like you guys said, oh, this kind of helps aggro. It doesn't. Like, it does, but it doesn't. Because the interesting thing we've seen in the 3 bases is none of them actually help you deal more damage to the opponent's base, like
Nope.
directly. They're
No,
all roundabout ways to do that. Like, they're fine in aggro. I think aggro still, like, whatever flavor of aggro you're building, you want, the base with the ability because you don't care about losing the health. But they're all utility for aggro. They're not helping you aggro harder.
no, yeah, that's true. I mean, your punch through a sentinel is like the only thing directly helping that. Otherwise, it's just trying to help clear the board without having to spend a body on it.
Yeah, you get to do something without needing the card in your hand.
Yep. Save the cards in your hand for more units and not, kill something without having to spend it. Anyway, yeah, just interesting thoughts on that. Moving on to my favorite spoiler of the week, the Millennium Falcon. This is another legendary. I don't know how many legendaries we're up to now. I'd have to go back and count, but it is a cunning heroism unit, 3 costs, space, obviously. It's a 3/4 underworld vehicle transport. Key noteworthy that it's also not rebel, like the whole Han Chewbacca line has been in this set. But it enters play ready. But when you ready cards during the regroup phase, and this is after you ready the cards, you either have to pay one of your resources or return this unit to her owner's hand. Yeah, they correctly gender the Falcon. Tack, thoughts on Falcon?
I mean, it seems really good. Like that's what we've seen from most of the legendaries. Things you want to play in a lot of decks. I mean, the super synergy is with Han ability because you just pay for it with the resource you're going to have to destroy with Han. So there's no real downside in doing that one. I mean, I don't know how often. I mean, it just I don't know how often you're going to be paying that versus like not paying it to get it bounced back so that it gets fully healed, etc. Like it just depends. Like a 3/4 body isn't huge in the late game where you're going to be more likely paying for the thing. So like I don't know that you're going to pay to get it back or not pay it to get it bounced back in the later game. But that's like it's a weird trade off. I don't know how it plays. I have not played with the Falcon yet, but it also seems like you get that early and you could maybe slap some upgrades on it, and it's gonna slap pretty hard too.
For sure. Yeah, Garrett.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it plays like you said really well with the Han ability to drop that turn one and just knock someone out, or just hit the base for three. It's just strong, and I mean, just keeping it around. You don't even have to. You can just pull it back to your hand, use it as a resource. You can do whatever you need to do. I I like it.
I mean, the
Yeah,
fact
I
that
like,
you're always going to get value because it comes into
Yeah.
play ready, like that's the part that's really hard to like. And we don't have a lot that does that right now.
right. Yeah, no, I like Falcon a lot. Like, I feel like this, in my opinion, this might be one of the best legendaries we've seen. I think I might edge it over Boba Fett, but like I might, like, if Tack is a control player at heart, I'm an aggro player at heart, and I look at this and be like, I want stuff that comes into play ready, and like by round 3, this has already done 6 damage to my opponent's base, maybe. Like, or I put, like, the hard point blaster or whatever it is, the green one, in a green deck, and I've done 8, threatening half the damage to their base off this one card. Is worth paying a couple extra to have a unit that came out ready. And I don't know, but like, online reactions seem kind of hot and cold to Falcon, so it'll be interesting to me to see how it shakes out. I don't know.
I mean, if we get some discard like recursion, I think it's gonna be even better. With Han, you can just cycle it. But
I mean, you can already
everything in the
play it.
hot set
You
is
could
like,
already play it with home one.
yeah,
True.
Like
Bring
home
it
one
right
into
out.
that also has to feel super good. You get the use of the restore. It's
Mm-hmm.
ready.
And speaking of upgrades for it, we did get another yellow upgrade, the smuggling compartment. It's 1 cost, attached to a vehicle unit specifically, and then attached unit gains on attack. You ready a resource, and it's a +1/+1.
should zoom out some.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Yeah,
Here, let me shrink. Better, is it still not good?
there. That should be good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's part of the Zencaster's like auto zooming, and it's like my face isn't there, so it's trying to zoom on the card. Um, yeah, so you're losing resources to Falcon, but this is one way to gain them back. I mean, not all at once, but kinda. Like, I mean, I guess it's still worth. If you put this on,
Plus one for one is still fine. Like, it's still good.
yeah, like, I think obviously you put it on Falcon. You pay the 1 at the end of your round, and the next round, if you attack with Falcon first, you get your resource back. I think is the idea there. So
Very efficient. I mean, the only downside is that just like it's not super card efficient. Like you might get to a point where you have not enough to play with all your resources if you are playing too many small things like that. But like I can see this actually being that smuggling compartment being hard to play with Han because you're already at uh, a card like disadvantage if you're cheating stuff out early. So like, yay, I have another resource to play after I've spent one, and then it might not be super relevant. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think we've seen the fullest potential for it yet. And honestly, it almost feels like it fits better in a Boba deck because it just doubles down on exactly what Boba wants to do.
I mean, I agree that it feels better in a not Han deck, or like not using Han ability, because you get. I think you want it with the Falcon, but like I think it's fine. It just, if you're playing Han, you probably don't have enough cards to make it worth it all the time, unless we get some kind of draw engine for him besides R2-3PO or Ezra. I mean, I guess Ezra's in there too, but
pseudo draw, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, going back to what Tax said, I do think that's probably the biggest problem with this is, or at least, in most great games where you have like an upgrade type card, are you going to lose that on card advantage? And like a lot of the time you want an upgrade that gives you enough, like, power and HP that like you can get an extra trade, and this isn't necessarily big enough to do that. So I
It
do
might
think
be
it's
big enough to slightly keep it alive more to anything
yeah.
but takedown.
Right. Yeah, it'd really suck to put this on Falcon. They're like, "Oh, cool, takedown." Damn. It's like
Yeah.
just got 2 for 1s and got nothing out of it. So,
Yeah.
definitely lame. All right, then going on to stream spoilers when they showed off 3 4 red cards I think
Or
we have to
yeah.
talk about.
Yep.
First of which,
Mhm.
this is an interesting one. The Fighters for Freedom, not Freedom Fighters for some reason. The Fighters for Freedom sounds better. It's a 3-cost ground unit in aggression, heroism. It's a 3/4. It's a rebel trooper. It has Saboteur, and when you play another aggression card, you may deal 1 damage to a base. Garrett, what do you think?
I mean, a 3/4 for 3 is pretty solid. It's got a good ability, but be you have to be building for it if that's where you're going for. Because
Yeah.
if you're running, a mostly vigilance deck, you're probably not putting this in there. But if you have 75% aggression, it's worth it. I think Saboteur is always good.
I mean, if you get multiple of these out at the same time too, that's where it really starts probably feeling gross. I mean, yeah,
Machine
three
gun.
four is the Ezra stat line, which is pretty good. I don't know if the rest of it really can compare, but Ezra's unique as well. So, I mean, I think I've seen it most compared to what's the one that the
The Rogue
yellow
Operative.
Rogue Operative with the 3-cost 2/4 with raid. I think I like the Rogue Operative better personally, and unless you are planning on getting multiple triggers off of the thing, off of the extra red cards played. So probably only in mono red. I don't see that being better than the operative.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I was talking with people on Discord. We're already getting like a lot of 3-drop units in Hero in particular. If you just go look, that it actually is a choice now. Like, how many 3-drops can you run in a deck, or would you run? Like maybe 12 at max, I would think. Like 4 different things at 3 ofs, and like if you already got like Ezra, because Ezra's really good, and I already got Falcon because Falcon's really good. Wing Leader with all these rebels, that's amazing. Like then I'm all of a sudden like, do I put in Fighters for Freedom or Rogue Operative or the Lieutenant? Or like I'm all of a sudden just running out of space.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah, I
wing
don't know.
leaders, I think fine, but it's not the experience tokens it gives are good, but it's a 2/1. Like it's not gonna.
The body's not good, obviously. I mean, a 2/1 in space is better than a 2/1 on ground. So
That's true.
because
There's less space.
there's a decent chance you play it and they have nothing in space, and especially if you're aggro, you're like, ooh, uncontested damage.
I just know we're gonna see a lot of Vader, like leader,
Yeah,
and Vader's just
Strike
gonna be
Vader.
like,
and
okay, it's
ping it
just
off. Hey, if Vader's the answer to like aggro, I'll play Vader all day.
Moving on to the next card, Aggression, the namesake card, another legendary that following in the paths of Command and Vigilance. This is a 4-cost event. You need the double aggression to play it without any penalty, and you get to choose 2 in any order. All the very straightforward effects. You either draw a card, defeat up to 2 upgrades, ready a unit with 3 or less power, or deal 4 damage to a unit. Attack. What are your thoughts on Aggression?
I mean, I wouldn't pay 6 for it, but I mean, it seems like good if you're doing the double red. I don't know if it's like I mean, okay. I don't know, like if your opponents don't have upgrades, and it is worth noting that the shields and the experience tokens are upgrades. They're not the most efficient use of removal on it, but if it gets you a kill, it gets you a kill. I can see this very being like, you'd want it to get a 2-for-1. It'd be like really cool if like, oh, I defeat 2 upgrades on a guy and then deal 4 damage to another guy, and that ends up killing 2 things. Or like maybe you deal 4 damage to a guy, ready a guy, and then you can kill another guy. Like I don't know. I don't think you're getting 2-for-1 with it. I don't know what 2 options you're picking most of the time. That's just like the weird part to me. Like I think you're almost always taking 4 damage. I feel like that's the main reason
Right.
for it. It's open fire for 1 more with a bonus effect. And I don't know if you're taking the draw. I mean, I don't know. I think you're pretty much always taking the damage to a unit. That would be my
Yeah,
guess.
I
And
think the
and
draw is
reading is
probably the
probably
default.
common too.
You take the draw when you can't do either of the other ones. I think it's like the default option.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than milling 6 if you're not playing a mill game, I guess.
Right. Another thing that annoys me about it, the sequencing of it, I feel like is going to get weird with like deal 4 damage to a unit. You want to do that probably like right out of the gate because you want to kill an opponent's unit before they attack with it. But to ready a
You wanna
unit with
play-
3 or less power, you either need to like play it or attack with something first. And both of those things, I think, fight against each other. Which
Yeah,
is
I think that's kind of where I was feeling with it too. Yeah, like I tried a mono red deck, and it just like I mean it was fine. It felt clunky, and I think that is probably one of the main reasons. Just like I don't know what to pick. I guess like I'll defeat a shield and an XP or something, or like I mean the least conditional ones are drawing and damaging. I feel like those are the things you can do at the start of a round pretty easily.
yeah, which it's
But
fine.
I just don't know. Is drawing a card and dealing 4 worth it? Like, I mean,
For
it's fine.
4,
It's
it's
open
probably
fire
worth
plus
it.
draw for 1. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's not like
I've been messing with it in my Sabine deck, and I think if I'm gonna pay an extra 2 for one of these, I think Vigilance is better. In most decks so far. Who knows what we're gonna see? But right now, I think it's better. But for 4, I like it. I just at 6, I couldn't get it to work right at 6 because
yeah.
the 4 damage is good, but if you're paying 6, I gotta be doing more than 4 damage to something.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
think you
drawing a
see
single
that.
card isn't worth 3 more resources over open fire.
No. No.
Feels like a very expensive card. Moving on. The Disabling Fang Fighter, the first bit of, the second bit, I don't remember. They showed this first and then aggression. So this was the first bit of upgrade hate that we saw. But it's a 3-cost single aggression unit, space unit. It's a 3/2 Mandalorian vehicle fighter that when played, you may defeat an upgrade. Very simple. Garrett, what do you think about this one?
I mean 3/2 stats for 3 isn't great, but I like defeating an upgrade, especially if Fallen Lightsaber is going to be around. And as Tak was saying, that's a 3/2 in space is better than a 3/2 on ground. So I don't think it's awful, and I think once we see something that boosts Mandalorians, I think it's gonna be even better because like you have Dodonna for Rebels and I forget who it is for Imperials because I've mostly been playing
Veers.
Rebels. Veers. You give them the +1/+1, and I think once we see something that makes Mandalorian trait better, it's probably
That's true.
even going to be better for 3.
Yeah, Tak. What do you think?
I like this card. I mean, I'm trying to think of like where it slots in a deck and constructed, and I think this is a great draft card because you'll be able to kill shield something. Like I think it's a great for a common just to have a ship at a decent body. Like that's a decent enough body for a draft ship and the bonus effect. Like if this reads 3/2 ship, ping a shield off something, that's you probably still do that in some cases. Like
Yeah, no, I think 3/2
like,
ping a shield is on value, or even ping an experience is on value. As long as you can get one of those things. If you play it for nothing, it's kind of sucky.
yeah, it's
have to be
kind of
hitting
sucky,
something.
but like I think that it's not going to be too uncommon to find something like, and if you're running up against it doesn't play those, you can just resource it, and it's probably not the worst to still have in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll get constructed play though. I mean, it just
only
depends on
single
how much
aggression too. It doesn't like you can put it in either deck. I think that Also
and
helps it.
and control decks too. So
And speaking of all the 3-drops, I said that we had too many of figuring out what you fit in your deck. Here's
Yeah.
yet another
Yeah.
one in that deck.
Space is
The one thing,
though.
yeah, to take this in a slightly different direction, the one thing I thought of when I saw this, like early, like one of my first thoughts was, if we could, if we get side decks and constructed, we haven't heard anything of competitive play, but if we get side decks and constructed,
Oh yeah.
this
Pick
might
the
see a
sideboard.
lot of side deck play. Oh, I'm
That would
going
be-
against the deck that's flipping their leader and putting Fallen Lightsaber on it. Time to bring these in.
That
Counter
would at
that
least be
play.
a 2 of in a sideboard for me.
So yeah, I think that's where this gets interesting. But we haven't heard that. Like, I'm personally fans of sideboards. I know if
Is
you
that
ask the
common
community,
in games?
what's that?
Is that common on a lot of competitive CCGs right
It's
now?
Magic.
Magic.
Obviously is the biggest, and they've had what,
Right.
a 15 card sideboard.
Yep.
So
At least when I was
like,
playing,
choose
it was
it.
15.
The thing is Magic, you don't see any. Like, is this a I see your leader, I see your base, now I make my decision before then, or
no idea.
I mean, I don't know how
Magic
they
is
would do it in
between
this.
games
but
2 and 3,
yeah.
though. Yeah,
Okay,
Magic. You have,
so
the
you have
starts.
a straight up deck list, and then you can
Yes.
sideboard between the two.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
after
makes more
game 1, you can sideboard.
because like you're given somewhat information by seeing their leader here, it would be a little unfair to like auto tech into the answer.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like if we get a 10 card sideboard, something like that we can swap out after game 1, I like that, but who knows? I'm always a fan of
Interesting.
sideboards.
Some people say that that's just you are a poor deck planner. You need to put it all in the main deck.
I mean, you
100
can have a
150 card main
100
deck.
card deck, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that was a thought that I had there, that I don't know how it gets played, but if we get side decks, it becomes like something that you'll see 3-ofs all over the place. Last and probably the least, I probably should have changed these in order so we would get more
Yeah.
interesting things, but we have the Wampa, which is a 4-cost single aggression aspect ground unit that is a 4/5 creature with overwhelm. Almost a vanilla.
Yeah, it reminds me of
Garrett,
the base Ice Yeti from what's it called, Hearthstone, from the original like Hearthstone set. The base 4-cost 4/5 Yeti. Here it is. Here he's got overwhelm this time because this game is cooler, I guess.
I want to play Wampa and put entrenched on it
yes.
because that's
That
hilarious.
is actually pretty good. Like,
Other than that, I don't particularly like this. I mean, it's fine in draft, I'm sure. I would take this in a draft. But like, yeah, drop entrenched on that thing and it becomes a 7/8 that
can one-shot Luke. That's just thematic.
Yeah. It can damage base. Like, yeah, I'm into that.
It makes sense that he's entrenched. He hides in his cave. He should come with entrenched.
Yeah. Too bad we don't have Sean Yeti back, because this is his card. This has to be. He has to change his Discord profile to the Wampa art. He's Yeti. Maybe when he gets back from his vacation. Anyway, that wraps up the last of the spoilers that we got, and we covered the Spiel presentation. So that's kind of like all the news from this week, I think, unless I'm forgetting something. Is there anything that I was missing that anyone can think of?
The game genic stuff, the tokens and whatnot, but that might have been last week.
Yeah, we had heard about that.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think that was anything new this week. Yeah,
I don't think we talked about it. They did have the prices on some of those things, which I thought was interesting. That's gonna make me go broke.
with the deck boxes.
Yeah, I think like the single deck box
Tokens.
is 30 or 40. I can't remember.
I don't need that. That's what I got that for.
Your enclosure?
My 3D printer.
Oh, your 3D printer. I was like, oh, the enclosure around your 3D. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring my 3D printer with like decks in it. No,
I can't bring that because there won't be. They need the power outlets for the vending machines.
nice. Yeah, but yeah. So I don't know. I'll be the guy I've half contemplated calling the store and being like, can you just like pre-order me like one of each color of the deck boxes? I'll pay the 200 whatever bucks right up front just to have them.
The doubles or the singles? Are you gonna
Just
get all the single ones?
Yeah, I think I would get all the single ones, which I don't know. I like better, and I like that you can mix and match the lids, which I thought was really cool if you get the singles. I don't know if I care about the doubles, but I'll probably eventually have a whole set of the singles, one in each color.
Can you mix and match the lids on each flap of the double?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing that one. Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I still have my Ultimate Guard boxes from Destiny times that were not great for Destiny, but will actually be good for a regular card game.
A
So
regular game.
See, I just use these.
the photo box thing. The classic,
The Ultra Pro 100.
the classics. Those things. Yeah.
I actually have both. I have the
plastic
starter
ones.
decks. I printed out both in there right now. Actually, that I've been bringing to the game store. Worked
Yeah, I
well
think
for
you
Destiny.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think you can mix match the lids on the double pods. They mix match too.
Oh, gotta buy them all.
I know, gotta collect them all. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
60, 60
I
for
might
the
get one
doubles.
double. I might get one double, and then I'll probably get a token set. Oh, I don't know if one token set's really gonna be enough that what I want or not.
Yeah,
It's hard to say.
I think one token set is enough for one player. Like,
I
I don't
like
think
their
you can
tokens,
share.
but I'll probably end up getting the curled paw ones whenever they release a set, if they haven't already.
They haven't yet, but yeah.
I mean, I don't dislike my Destiny tokens. It's just they are very insufficient for base damage because they're 1s and 3s. So good for units, terrible for bases. So I definitely want the game genics for that.
That's why I got my Shatterpoint printed tokens here.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's get Garrett to print us all fancy tokens.
All the tokens.
Running that thing forever. Anyway, yeah, that's all we got for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back next week with episode 4, probably with at least one more aggression spoiler at minimum, and maybe aggression. Maybe at some point I can convince FFG to give us a spoiler that we'll actually be able to share.
Maybe.
Garrett bugs me every week. Can we get one now?
Get a spoiler. Let's get some with Mill. Let's get a Mill spoiler.
Ew.
An aggression? Or
I
you
don't
just
care
mean
what color it is.
aggression
Just give me
Mills?
we
Mill.
gotta wait till
Mill month.
we
When's
wrap
Mill
back
month?
into Vigilance Month Part 2.
Yes, Vigilance Month Part 2. Electric
Since
Boogaloo.
I'm the only Mill player, I'm gonna advocate for Mill spoilers.
Boo.
I didn't like Mill in Destiny, but I don't know. I like Kanan a lot. He's one of my favorite characters in modern Star Wars, so he makes me
he
want to
is
play
Mill,
Mill.
but he's not like they haven't. I haven't seen like a lot of dedicated Mill stuff. Like it's kind of soft Mill.
No, we got Kanan and Vigilance.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And Yoda, you make them draw extra cards.
That's
Yoda,
true.
and mind trick them to play the extra
That's
cards.
not my favorite. That's not my favorite way of milling. Is I don't really want to give you the cards. I would much rather just destroy them from you.
I do like the funny because Mill in this game, you take the damage when you can't draw, so you can get to the point where you lose the Yoda and you make them take damage because they can't draw the card.
Yeah,
you just have to mill them first.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Late
I mean, I haven't
Yoda.
even gotten close to decking yet in any game I've played. So,
all right. Anyway, that's enough. We'll see everyone later. Bye.
Bye.